Ladies and gentlemen, life is not a rehearsal, it's the main event. Every sunrise is a silent invitation, a reminder that today is the one chance you have to rewrite your story, to shape your destiny, to move from where you are to where you truly want to be. But here's the truth, nothing changes until you do. Nothing shifts until you decide to push yourself beyond comfort, beyond excuses, beyond the easy road. You see, the world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards execution. Dreams don't come to life simply because you wish for them. They demand discipline, sacrifice, and the courage to step into the unknown. The most dangerous place you can ever live is in the land of someday, where goals are postponed, visions are delayed, and greatness is left unrealized. Someday is a thief. It steals your future while you stand still. So the question before you is not whether the opportunity exists. It does. The question is, will you rise up and seize it? Will you push yourself past the point of resistance, past the voice that whispers, "Not now," and make it happen? Because when you decide, truly decide to take responsibility for your potential, the whole world bends in your favor. That decision is the spark. That action is the fire. And that fire, once ignited, can transform your entire life. This is your moment. This is your season. The door is open, but only you can walk through it. Push yourself. Make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, let us pause for a moment and reflect on a simple but powerful truth. Desire is where it begins, but discipline is what carries it through. Desire sparks the dream, but discipline builds the reality. Desire is the seed, but discipline is the soil, the water, and the sunlight that brings that seed to life. Without discipline, desire remains just that, a longing, a wish, an echo of what could have been. Think about it this way, every person in T. Some people misunderstand discipline. They think it's a prison. They think it's chains that rob them of freedom. But let me give you a revelation. Discipline is not a prison. It is the path to freedom. The disciplined body is free from sickness. The disciplined wallet is free from debt. The disciplined mind is free from confusion. Discipline doesn't lock you up. It sets you free to enjoy the life you truly desire. Now, here's something else to understand. Discipline compounds. One act of discipline builds upon another, just like bricks stacking on bricks until you've built a fortress of strength. But neglect also compounds. One skipped workout leads to another. One day of procrastination becomes a week, then a month, then a year, and suddenly life has passed you by, and all that's left are regrets. I challenge you today, build the compound effect of discipline. Don't wait for the big things. Start small. Discipline yourself to wake up 30 minutes earlier. Discipline yourself to save a little money every week. Discipline yourself to read 10 pages of a book every day. These small acts, repeated consistently, will create a harvest that is far greater than the seed. Let me remind you of something powerful. Discipline and regret are both painful, but discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. The pain of discipline lasts a moment, but the pain of regret can last a lifetime. Choose your pain wisely. Another key to discipline is vision. Without vision, discipline feels like punishment. But with vision, discipline becomes fuel. The athlete doesn't wake up at 4 a.m. to run because they love losing sleep. They do it because they see the gold medal. The entrepreneur doesn't work late into the night because they love exhaustion. They do it because they see freedom on the horizon. Vision gives purpose to discipline. When your why is strong enough, the how becomes easier. Now, don't think discipline means perfection. Discipline is not about never failing. It's about getting back up every time you fall. It's about recommitting to your journey after every setback. Discipline is persistence, not perfection. If you fall 7 times, discipline says rise 8. And let me share this truth. Discipline is not just about what you do. It's about who you become. When you discipline yourself, you're not just building habits, you're building character. You're becoming the kind of person who can be trusted with success. Because success, my friends, is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become. And discipline is the chisel that shapes you into that person. The world doesn't need more dreamers. It needs more doers. It doesn't need more talk. It needs more action. And action, sustained over time, is nothing but discipline. So let me ask you, where in your life are you waiting for desire to magically turn into achievement? Where have you been wishing without working, dreaming without doing? Today is the day to build the bridge. Today is the day to pick up discipline like a tool and begin constructing the pathway to your future. Here's the final word. Desire lights the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. Desire gets you started, but discipline gets you finished. Desire opens the door, but discipline walks you through it. If you want to cross from wishing to winning, from hoping to having, then embrace discipline. Because discipline is the bridge between desire and achievement, and the moment you choose it, your future changes forever. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about one of the most dangerous places a human being can live. It's not a city, it's not a country, it's not even a physical location. It's a state of mind. It's called the comfort zone. At first glance, the comfort zone feels harmless, even pleasant. It feels safe, familiar, predictable. It's the place where you know the routine, where nothing challenges you, where nothing stretches you, and where you never have to risk failure. It's a place that whispers, stay here, don't push, don't try, don't risk. Everything is fine just as it is. And for a while, that whisper feels comforting. But here's the truth. The comfort zone is not a sanctuary. It's a prison. And the bars are built not of steel, but of fear, excuses, and self-deception. The comfort zone tricks you. It disguises itself as safety, but what it really does is slowly suffocate your potential. Inside the comfort zone, dreams die quietly. Inside the comfort zone, talents wither away unused. Inside the comfort zone, your greatness is never demanded of you, and so it never emerges. Think of it this way. A bird was never designed to stay in the nest. The nest is for growth, for preparation, for safety until the wings are strong. But if the bird refuses to leave the nest, the very thing that once felt like home becomes the very thing that traps it. The comfort zone is your nest, and life is demanding that you fly. Now let's go deeper. Why do we cling to comfort zones? The answer is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. Fear whispers that if you step out, you might stumble. Fear whispers that if you risk, you might lose. And so many choose to stay where they are, not because they're satisfied, but because they're scared. But here's the paradox. The very thing you fear, growth, change, risk, is the very thing you need to reach your destiny. Let's be honest, nothing great ever came from comfort. No one ever became strong by staying in ease. No one ever built greatness by doing only what was familiar. Muscles grow through resistance, minds expand through challenge, and lives are transformed through struggle. Comfort does not create champions, it creates complacency. The prison of comfort has many disguises. Sometimes it looks like a steady paycheck you hate but won't leave. Sometimes it looks like relationships you know are unhealthy but you cling to because they're familiar. Sometimes it looks like habits that are slowly destroying you but feel easier than the discipline to change. Comfort makes you settle, and settling is the silent enemy of success. Let me remind you, the comfort zone doesn't just hold you back, it shrinks you. The longer you stay in it, the smaller your world becomes. Opportunities pass by because you're unwilling to stretch. Talents remain hidden because you're unwilling to try. And slowly, without realizing it, your life becomes a repetition of yesterday instead of an adventure into tomorrow. Now, I want to share something powerful. Growth only happens at the edge of discomfort. That's the law. Just as the seed has to break through the soil to grow into a tree, you have to break through your limits to grow into your potential. It's uncomfortable, it's messy, it's uncertain, but it's necessary. You might fail, yes. You might stumble, yes. But let me tell you, failure outside the comfort zone is 10 times better than regret inside it. Because failure teaches, failure strengthens, failure molds. Regret, on the other hand, leaves you empty. Regret is the price you pay for staying comfortable, and regret is always heavier than risk. Here's the good news. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to act in spite of it. The comfort zone loses its power the moment you take one bold step outside it. That's all it takes, a step. You don't have to leap across the ocean, you just have to step outside the cage. And once you do, something incredible happens. You realize you were stronger than you thought, braver than you believed, and capable of far more than you imagined. Let me give you an example. Think of every breakthrough in history. Every invention, every discovery, every great achievement, none of it came from people who stayed safe. The explorers who sailed across oceans didn't have guarantees. The entrepreneurs who built empires didn't have certainties. The leaders who transformed nations didn't have guarantees of success, but they were willing to step outside the comfort of the familiar. And because of that, history remembers their names. So let me ask you, where have you been hiding in the prison of comfort? Where have you been playing it safe while your potential cries out for more? Where have you mistaken routine for progress and safety for fulfillment? Only you can answer. But here's the challenge. Don't just answer it, act on it. Break free. Now remember this, when you step outside your comfort zone, it won't feel good at first. Growth rarely does. Just like the seed breaking through the soil, there will be pressure. Just like the muscle being trained, there will be pain. Just like the bird leaving the nest, there will be fear. But on the other side of that fear, there is freedom. On the other side of that discomfort, there is destiny. Here's the great irony. The comfort zone promises safety, but real safety lies in growth. Staying comfortable will cost you more than taking risks. Staying in the prison will rob you of the very life you were created to live. The only true danger is refusing to grow. And let me leave you with this picture. Imagine your life as a book. Each year is a chapter. If you stay in your comfort zone, every chapter looks the same. The characters don't grow, the plot doesn't thicken, nothing changes. But if you step out, if you Read a risk, to grow, to stretch, then every chapter is new, every page is alive, and your story becomes worth reading. So today I urge you, break free from the illusion of safety. Step outside the comfort zone. Risk the fall. Risk the failure. Risk the unknown. Because that's where your wings grow. That's where your strength emerges. That's where your life begins. The comfort zone is not your friend. It is your enemy dressed in disguise. Don't let it steal your years, your dreams, your potential. Choose courage over comfort. Choose growth over safety. Choose freedom over prison. And when you do, you'll discover that the world outside your comfort zone is far greater, far richer, and far more rewarding than you ever imagined. Fear is one of the oldest companions of mankind. It has walked with humanity since the beginning of time. And though fear has a purpose to warn, to protect, to alert, it has also become one of the greatest thieves of destiny. Fear whispers to us in the quiet moments. Fear paralyzes us when opportunity knocks. Fear convinces us that waiting is safer than acting, that hesitation is wiser than boldness. And yet history has proven, life has proven, that fear is not defeated by waiting, it is defeated by moving. Action cures fear. Hesitation multiplies it. Think about that for a moment. When you act, when you step forward, when you take the first move, something shifts. The cloud of fear begins to dissolve. The anxiety begins to lose its grip. The thing that seemed impossible suddenly becomes manageable. Why? Because action is light and fear thrives only in darkness. Fear grows in stillness, but it shrinks in motion. Let's take a simple example. Imagine standing at the edge of a cold swimming pool. You dip your toe in, you shiver, you hesitate. You think about how freezing it will feel. The longer you wait, the worse it becomes. The water doesn't change. It's the same temperature. But your hesitation makes the fear bigger than reality. But what happens the moment you jump in? The cold shocks you, yes, but within moments you adjust. And soon you're swimming, you're moving, you're free. What changed? Not the water. What changed was you. The cure wasn't in thinking, it was in doing. That's how life works. Fear is magnified by delay. The longer you wait, the stronger it becomes. Hesitation feeds fear. Hesitation builds mountains out of molehills, monsters out of shadows, obstacles out of thin air. But action cuts fear down to size. Action turns mountains into steps, shadows into light, and obstacles into lessons. Now here's a truth you must remember. Fear is not a signal to stop. It's a sign you're on the edge of growth. If you only move where there is no fear, you will stay trapped in the small circle of the familiar. But if you dare to move through the fear, you step into expansion. Fear marks the doorway to your next level, and the only way to walk through that door is action. People often say, I'll wait until I'm no longer afraid, then I'll start. But that's not how life works. You don't wait for fear to leave before you act. You act, and that's what makes fear leave. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of fear. Let me give you an image. Fear is like fog. From a distance, it looks thick, impenetrable. It looks like you could never move through it. But when you walk into it, you discover the fog is thin. You can see, you can breathe, you can keep going. It was only an illusion. Fear is the same. The closer you get, the smaller it becomes, but you'll never know until you move. Now let's talk about hesitation. Hesitation is fear's best friend. It's fear's partner in crime. Hesitation whispers, wait a little longer, think it through one more time. Tomorrow will be better. Conditions will improve. And while you hesitate, time passes, opportunities fade, confidence weakens, and fear multiplies. The danger of hesitation is this: the longer you stand still, the harder it becomes to move. Just like a heavy rock, it's hardest to push when it's not moving, but once it rolls, momentum helps it along. Action creates momentum. Hesitation kills it. Look around at those who succeed, who achieve, who rise above the average. You'll notice they all share one quality. They act. They don't always act perfectly. They don't always act with certainty, but they act. They make the call. They start the project. They take the step. And because they act, they learn, they adjust, they grow. Meanwhile, the hesitant wait. And waiting becomes wasting. Understand this. You don't need to have all the answers to take the first step. You don't need the entire staircase to climb the first stair. Action brings clarity. Action reveals what hesitation hides. As you move, the path becomes clearer. As you act, the fear loses power. Let's ground this in real life. Have you ever dreaded a conversation? You rehearsed it in your head. You imagined all the negative outcomes. You built it into a mountain of anxiety. But when you finally had the conversation, it wasn't nearly as bad as you thought. In fact, it probably turned out better than expected. That's the power of action. It cuts fear down to its real size. Now, here's the lesson. Fear is temporary, but regret is permanent. Fear may last a moment, but regret can last a lifetime. And hesitation leads straight to regret. People rarely regret the actions they took. They regret the actions they didn't take, the words they never said, the opportunities they never seized, the chances they never embraced. Don't let hesitation be the thief of your destiny. So how do we apply this? Simple. Train yourself to act quickly on good ideas. Don't wait until you feel ready. Ready is a myth. Don't wait until you have perfect conditions. Perfect never arrives. Don't wait until fear disappears. It won't. Act, make the call, send the proposal, step into the room, sign up for the class, start the habit, do it now. Because the longer you wait, the bigger fear becomes. The sooner you move, the smaller it shrinks. Here's the beauty of action. Once you act, confidence grows, and confidence fuels more action. It's a cycle. Action builds confidence, confidence builds action. But hesitation builds doubt, and doubt builds hesitation. You must choose your cycle wisely. Think of a rocket launching into space. The hardest part is liftoff. It requires the most fuel, the most energy. But once it breaks through the atmosphere, momentum takes over and the rocket soars with ease. Action in life works the same way. The hardest part is the beginning. But once you start, momentum makes it easier. The cure is in the launch. So today, I challenge you. Stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop. Letting fear dictate your future. Fear will always knock, but you don't have to open the door. Action is your shield. Action is your weapon. Action is your cure. Remember this, the great dreams of your heart will not come true because you wished for them. They will come true because you acted for them. The future doesn't belong to the fearful, it belongs to the bold. The opportunities of tomorrow will not wait for your hesitation. They will reward your decision. So step forward, take the risk, move into the unknown. Don't let fear write your story. Don't let hesitation steal your years. Act, because action cures fear and hesitation multiplies it. And once you taste the freedom of living on the other side of fear, you'll never want to return to the prison of hesitation again. Progress, it's the heartbeat of achievement, the evidence of growth, the proof that you're moving closer to your goals. But progress is not an accident. It doesn't arrive like a package on your doorstep. It doesn't fall out of the sky. Progress is earned, and the currency is consistency. If you want to move forward in life, if you want to climb the mountain, build the dream, achieve the vision, you must commit to the discipline of daily effort. Not once in a while, not when you feel inspired, not when circumstances are perfect, but daily, every single day. Progress demands it. Think of it this way, success is not built in a day, it is built day by day. A farmer doesn't plant today and harvest tomorrow. He plants, waters, weeds, and waits. He shows up daily. Why? Because he knows that consistency compounds. The harvest is hidden in the habit. Let me give you a warning. Many people fail not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack consistency. They start strong, full of passion, but when the excitement fades, so does their effort. They push for a week, a month, maybe even a year, but without daily discipline, momentum is lost. And when momentum dies, dreams stall. The secret of progress is not intensity, it is consistency. Running 10 miles once does not make you fit. Saving money once does not make you wealthy. Reading one book does not make you wise. But running a little every day builds endurance. Saving consistently builds wealth. Reading daily builds wisdom. Small disciplines repeated over time create great results. Now let's address something crucial. Progress is often invisible at first. That's why consistency is so hard. You go to the gym for a week and nothing changes in the mirror. You study for a month and you don't feel smarter. You work on your dream for a year and the results seem small. And here's where most people quit because they don't see immediate results. But progress doesn't announce itself loudly in the beginning. It whispers. It builds quietly beneath the surface until one day breakthrough comes. Consistency is the bridge between effort and evidence. Without consistency, you sabotage your own progress just before the results arrive. Imagine a miner digging for gold. He digs day after day, but the gold is buried deep. If he quits just before striking it, all his effort is wasted. But if he keeps digging consistently, eventually the treasure is his. That's the law of progress. Keep showing up, and sooner or later, results will show up too. Some may say, but consistency is boring. Yes, it can feel that way. Repetition doesn't always excite. Doing the same positive action daily can feel dull compared to the thrill of novelty. But here's the paradox. The boring disciplines are the very things that create extraordinary lives. The simple act of brushing your teeth daily prevents decay. The simple act of saving daily creates financial security. The simple act of learning daily creates mastery. Greatness hides in the ordinary. Now let's talk about distractions. One of the greatest enemies of consistency is the temptation to start and stop. We live in a world of constant options, constant noise. Every day, new ideas, new opportunities, new shortcuts come knocking. And many people jump from one thing to another, chasing shiny objects, never staying long enough in one lane to see progress. Remember this, the seed only grows when it stays planted. If you keep uprooting it, moving it from soil to soil, it will never flourish. Stay consistent, stay planted. That's how progress grows. Here's another truth. Consistency builds credibility with yourself. Every time you keep your daily commitment, you build self-trust. Every time you keep your word, you strengthen your character. But every time you quit on yourself, you weaken that trust. And if you can't trust yourself, how can you build anything lasting? Progress is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become. And consistency shapes you into someone dependable, someone disciplined, someone destined for success. Let's pause here and look at nature. The Grand Canyon wasn't carved by one giant flood. It was carved by the steady flow of water over thousands of years. The tallest trees didn't grow overnight. They grew daily, inch by inch. The sunrise doesn't leap into the sky. It rises slowly, steadily, consistently until the world is filled with light. Progress in your life works the same way. It's not the occasional big push. It's the steady daily effort. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what if I fail along the way? Let me assure you, failure is not the opposite of progress. It is part of it. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means persistence. If you miss a day, you don't quit, you restart. If you fall, you don't surrender, you rise again. Consistency is not never failing. It's never staying down. And here's something powerful. Consistency creates momentum, and momentum makes progress easier. Think of a train. At first, it takes massive effort to move. The wheels turn slowly, the engine strains. But once it's moving, it glides with power and speed. Your life is the same. At first, daily effort feels heavy. But as habits form, as momentum builds, progress becomes natural. What was once hard becomes easy. What was once foreign becomes familiar. What was once a struggle becomes strength. So let me challenge you. Commit to the process, not just the outcome. Don't just fall in love with the goal. Fall in love with the grind. Fall in love with the daily effort, because that's where transformation lives. Champions aren't made on the stage. They're made in the practice room. Success isn't created in the spotlight. It's built in the dark, in the daily unseen disciplines. One last warning. Inconsistency is costly. Every time you quit, you reset. Every time you stop, you lose the progress you've built. Imagine climbing a mountain, getting halfway, and going back down. Then starting over again. You'd waste years never reaching the peak. That's what inconsistency does. It steals time, it wastes effort, it delays destiny. Don't let it. Stay the course. And let me end with this truth. Daily effort is not glamorous, but it is glorious. It may not be celebrated, but it will be rewarded. It may not be noticed by others, but it will be noticed by your future self. 10 years from now, you'll look back at today's choices and either thank yourself or regret yourself. The difference will not be in what you did occasionally, but in what you did consistently. Progress is not magic, it's math. Small efforts multiplied daily equal great results. The formula is simple, but the discipline is rare. Don't wish for progress, work for it. Don't wait for change, create it. Don't rely on bursts of effort, rely on steady discipline, because progress demands consistent daily effort. So start today. Do the small things faithfully. Show up daily. Build the habit. Trust the process. And soon you'll look back and realize you are miles ahead of where you began. Not because you leapt, but because you walked consistently, step by step, day by day, into the life you were meant to live. Life is a numbers game. Every choice adds or subtracts. Every decision builds or breaks. And if you look closely, you'll see a principle woven through the story of every success and every failure. Excuses subtract. Responsibility multiplies. Excuses are thieves. They steal time, they steal energy, they steal opportunities. They are the great subtractors of life. Excuses may sound harmless, even reasonable, but they leave you weaker every time you speak them. Responsibility, on the other hand, is the multiplier. It doesn't just add, it multiplies. Responsibility takes what little you have and increases it. It turns obstacles into opportunities, failures into lessons, and setbacks into stepping stones. The person who takes responsibility always multiplies their future. Now let's be honest. Excuses are easy. They flow like water. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I wasn't given the right chances. I'm too young. I'm too old. The economy is bad. The weather wasn't right. People don't support me. Excuses come in endless varieties, but they all do the same thing. They subtract. They take away your power, because the moment you make an excuse, you hand over your control. You declare that life is in charge, circumstances are in charge, someone else is in charge, but not you. Excuses may give temporary comfort, but they create permanent weakness. They protect your pride for a moment, but they destroy your progress for a lifetime. That's why successful people avoid them. They don't waste time explaining why they couldn't. They spend their time figuring out how they could. Responsibility is different. Responsibility says, I am the captain of my ship. I am the architect of my future. I can't control the wind, but I can set my sail. I can't control the storm, but I can navigate through it. I can't control what others do, but I can control my response. Responsibility multiplies because it takes whatever life hands you and turns it into something greater. Think of it this way. Excuses are subtraction by division. Every time you use them, you divide your energy, you reduce your influence, you shrink. Key your potential. Responsibility is multiplication by growth. Every time you accept it, you expand your capacity, you increase your influence, you grow your potential. Now here's the paradox. People make excuses because they think responsibility is heavy. They think it's a burden. They think it's chains. But the truth is the opposite. Excuses are the real chains. Responsibility is the key that unlocks freedom. The person who accepts responsibility is free. Free to grow, free to change, free to improve. Excuses keep you trapped. Responsibility sets you free. Let's take an example. Two people lose their job. One says, the company was unfair, the boss didn't like me, the economy is terrible, there's nothing I can do. That person makes excuses and their situation subtracts. They grow bitter, not better, but the other says, I didn't see the signs, I should have improved my skills, I'll learn from this, I'll take what I know and build something new. That person takes responsibility and their situation multiplies. Soon they rise higher than before. Same event, different response, subtraction or multiplication. Now let me say this plainly. The world is full of excuses, but the marketplace doesn't pay for excuses, it pays for results. The economy doesn't reward reasons, it rewards performance. Life doesn't bend for complaints, it bends for responsibility. And here's something powerful. When you stop making excuses, people start trusting you. Responsibility builds credibility. Responsibility earns respect. People want to follow a leader who owns their actions, not one who explains them away. Responsibility multiplies not just your success, but your influence. But you may say, what about the things I cannot control? Good question. The truth is there are many things outside your control, weather, politics, the economy, the behavior of others. But responsibility is not about controlling everything. It's about controlling what you can. You can't control the wind, but you can control the set of your sail. You can't control the storm, but you can prepare your boat. You can't control what others do, but you can control your attitude, your work ethic, your choices. Here's the truth. Responsibility doesn't demand perfection. It demands ownership. If you fail, own it. If you succeed, own it. If you fall, own it and rise again. Every time you own your life, you multiply your ability to change it. Now let's expose the danger of excuses. Excuses become habits. They start small, but they grow fast. Excuse yourself from one responsibility today, and it becomes easier to excuse yourself tomorrow. Before long, your life is a chain of reasons why you never achieved, never improved, never lived your full potential. Excuses pile up like bricks, and soon you've built a wall around your future. But responsibility works the same way, in reverse. Take responsibility once, and it becomes easier to take it again. Own your choices, and soon you develop strength. Responsibility compounds just like excuses do. But while excuses shrink your life, responsibility expands it. Let me give you an image. Excuses are like weeds in a garden. If you allow them, they spread, they multiply, they choke out your harvest. Responsibility is the gardener's hoe. And it pulls the weeds, it nurtures the soil, it multiplies the fruit. Excuses destroy, responsibility builds. Now here's the test. Listen to your own words. Are you speaking excuses or ownership? Are you saying, I can't because, or are you saying, I will because? Are you saying, if only things were different, or are you saying, things are what they are, but I'll make them better? Your language reveals your mindset. Change your words and you'll change your results. One of the most powerful things you can ever say is this: I am responsible. Those 3 words multiply your future. They put the power back in your hands. They declare to the world that you're not a victim, you're a victor. You're not at the mercy of life. You are the master of your choices. So let me challenge you. Stop subtracting with excuses. Start multiplying with responsibility. Stop explaining why you can't and start acting on how you can. Stop blaming the past and start building the future. Stop pointing at others and start pointing at yourself, because the moment you take responsibility, the math of your life changes forever. And here's the miracle. When you live responsibly, doors open, opportunities appear, people notice, progress accelerates. Why? Because responsibility attracts trust, trust attracts opportunity, and opportunity multiplies results. So remember this, excuses subtract. They take away your power, your progress, your potential. Responsibility multiplies. It grows your influence, your impact, your results. The choice is yours. You can subtract your future with reasons, or you can multiply it with responsibility. And once you choose responsibility, you'll discover that life gives more to those who own more. More opportunity, more freedom, more abundance, because responsibility is not the weight that holds you down. It is the wings that lift you up. There is one quality that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the dreamers from the achievers, the almost from the accomplished. It is not talent, because talent without persistence dies unnoticed. It is not intelligence, because brilliance without endurance fades into frustration. It is not opportunity, because opportunities come and go, and not everyone seizes them. The defining quality is this: success belongs to those who refuse to quit. Life is not a straight road. It is a winding path filled with obstacles, delays, and detours. There will be setbacks, there will be disappointments, there will be moments when the dream feels too far, the climb feels too steep, and the pain feels too great. But here's the truth. Those who endure, those who refuse to give up, those who keep standing when others sit down, those are the ones who eventually taste success. Quitting is the easiest option. Quitting requires no effort, no discipline, no courage. Quitting is the default of comfort, but quitting never produces greatness. Show me a person who has achieved anything of significance, and I will show you someone who stood in the fire of adversity and refused to walk away. You see, success is not a single event. It is the reward of persistence. It's not given to the fastest, the strongest, or even the most gifted. It is given to the one who refuses to stop running. Refuses to stop climbing, refuses to stop believing. Success bows only to persistence. Let me paint you a picture. A stonecutter swings his hammer against a rock 100 times and not a single crack appears. But on the 101st strike, the rock shatters. Was it the final strike that broke the rock? No. It was the consistent, relentless refusal to quit after every failed attempt. That's how success works. Each effort adds pressure, each attempt builds momentum, and finally the breakthrough comes, but only to the one who keeps swinging. Now, here's the danger. Many people quit too soon. They stop just before the finish line. They surrender on the edge of victory. They give up after 99 swings, never realizing the next one would have shattered the stone. Success doesn't escape them because it wasn't possible. It escapes them because they stopped pursuing it. Quitting creates permanent defeat. Persistence creates eventual victory. But let me clarify. Persistence is not stubbornness. Persistence is not banging your head against the wrong wall forever. Persistence is the wisdom to adapt while refusing to abandon. It is adjusting the strategy but never abandoning the dream. It is finding new methods, new paths, new approaches while never giving up on the destination. The quitter says, "It didn't work, I'm done." The persistent says, "It didn't work this way, but there's another way and I'll find it." Now, why do so many quit? Because quitting promises relief. Quitting feels easier in the moment. Quitting silences the struggle, but it also silences the song of success. Yes, quitting ends the pain of effort, but it replaces it with the pain of regret, and regret is far heavier than perseverance. When you quit, you never know what could have been. You never see the doors that persistence would have opened. You never taste the fruit of your labor. Quitting robs you of your harvest, but when you persist, when you keep moving forward despite the obstacles, you discover strength you didn't know you had, and doors you never knew existed begin to open. Let's talk about history. Every invention, every breakthrough, every revolution was born not just of genius, but of endurance. Thomas Edison didn't fail once or twice. He failed thousands of times before creating the light bulb, but he didn't quit. He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's persistence, and because of it, the world was illuminated. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election, faced setback after setback, but he refused to quit. Eventually, he became one of the greatest leaders of history. Every great story of success carries this common theme, the refusal to quit. Now let me bring it to you. Your dream, your goal, your vision, whatever it is, will test you. It will push you. It will demand more than you thought you had. And in those moments, quitting will whisper in your ear. But if you give in, you'll never know what you are capable of. Success doesn't belong to the quitter. It belongs to the one who endures. Here's the principle. Pain is temporary, but quitting makes it permanent. Struggle is temporary, but quitting makes it eternal. Every difficulty has an expiration date, but if you stop, you lock yourself out of the reward. Keep going, and the struggle will pay down. Quit, and the struggle becomes your story. Persistence is power. Every day you refuse to quit, you build resilience. Every time you stand back up, you strengthen your spirit. Every time you endure, you multiply your character, and character is the foundation of lasting success. Let me give you an image. Imagine climbing a mountain. The air gets thinner, the rocks get sharper, the path gets steeper. Everything in you says stop. But the view is only at the top. You can't see it halfway. If you quit, you miss it. But if you keep climbing one step at a time, one breath at a time, the summit eventually rewards you. Success is the summit of persistence. Now, I must tell you this. Success doesn't always come quickly. Sometimes it takes years. Sometimes it takes decades. But the time will pass anyway. The question is, will you still be climbing? Will you still be swinging? Will you still be standing when others have quit? Because success is patient. It waits for the one who refuses to quit. And here's the irony. Most people are not defeated by failure. They are defeated by quitting. Failure is feedback. Failure is information. Failure is growth. Failure is not final unless you quit. Quitting is the only true failure. So what does persistence require? Faith in the future, belief in your vision, the discipline to keep showing up even when results are invisible, the courage to stand firm even when others doubt you, the wisdom to adjust but never abandon. And here's the reward. When you refuse to quit, life rewards you. Success opens its doors. Dreams come alive, not because it was easy, but because you endured. So let me challenge you. Wherever you are right now, don't quit. If you're in the middle of the struggle, don't quit. If the dream feels far, don't quit. If the obstacles feel heavy, don't quit. Quitting guarantees defeat. Persistence guarantees progress. Remember this. Success is not promised to the talented, the lucky, or the privileged. Success belongs to the relentless. It belongs to the one who stands back up. It belongs to the one who keeps fighting, keeps believing, keeps moving forward. Success belongs to those who refuse to quit. And when the story of your life is told, let it not be said that you gave up too soon. Let it be said that you endured, you persisted, you stood firm, and because of that you won.